Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to our Tafseer class. We are doing the kitab known as Al-Jami'u li Ahkam al-Quran of Imam Al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, and we're still busy with the Tafseer of Surah Al-Inshiqaq. So without delays, let's begin. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. So we are carrying on from this point over here on page 173. which is وأما أقوال المفسرين فقال عكرمة حالا بعد حال فطيما بعد رضيع وشيخا بعد شاب قال شاعر كذلك المرء إن ينسأ له أجل يركب على طبق من بعده طبق. We still dealing with لا تركبن طبقا عن طبق with that ayah. So he says with regards to the statements of the Mufassirin, Imam Ikrima, he explained it as being a state after a state. So, for example, فَطِيمًا بَعْدَ رَضِيعٍ, being as a child having been weaned after having been breastfeeding. وَشَيْخًا بَعْدَ شَابٍ, and an old man after having been a youngster. Then he quotes the poem over here, which the poet says, but moving on, he says, وَعَنْ مَكْحُولٍ كُلَّ 20 عَامًا تَجِدُونَ أَمْرًا لَمْ تَكُونُوا عَلَيْهِ. So Imam Makhul, he says that, what is a tabaq? He says that every 20 years you find something that is new, in other words, that previously was not there. So it comes state after state, something new happening every time. وقال الحسن أمرا بعد أمر رخاء بعد شدة وشدة بعد رخاء وغنى بعد فقر وفقرا بعد غنى وصحة بعد سقم وسقما بعد صحة. So Imam Hassan, he says that it is, like state after state, affair after affair, in the example of ease after difficulty, and difficulty after ease, and richness after poverty, and poverty after richness, and health after sickness, and sickness after health. عن سعيد بن جبير منزلة بعد منزلة قوم كانوا في الدنيا متضعين فارتفعوا في الآخرة وقوم كانوا في الدنيا مرتفعين فاتضعوا في الآخرة. Imam Sa'id ibn Jubair, he said that it is a state, like a rank after rank, or if you want to take the state as well, but it's more in the meaning of rank over here. So he says people who in this world they were oppressed and considered to be lowly, but فارتفعوا في الآخرة, they were raised high in the year after. And there are people who are high, people see them as being big shots in this world, but فاتضعوا في الآخرة, they will be made lowly in the year after. وقيل منزلة عن منزلة وطبقا عن طبق وذلك أن من كان على صلاح دعاه إلى صلاح فوقه ومن كان على فساد دعاه إلى فساد فوقه لأن كل شيء يجري إلى شكله. Another opinion over here, it says it is state upon state, and like level upon level, in the sense that the person who is upon goodness, the goodness that he is upon calls him towards another level of goodness. So in other words, if you are on, to use the three terms, so if you are a Muslim, then your Islam calls you towards Iman. Your Iman calls you towards Ihsan. So tabaqan an tabaq. So your good state calls you towards going to a higher good state. And وَمَنْ كَانَ عَلَى fasad, and the one who was on evil and corruption, then that evil and corruption that is on calls him towards a greater evil. And this is how the way that sin, for example, happens. From a person committing a sin on his own to not having a problem with the sin, to making excuses for the sin, to calling people towards the sin, to finding fault with the person who doesn't like the sin. That's how it goes. The evil calls you towards the next level of evil, and the goodness calls you towards the next level of goodness. Because he says, because everything goes towards its like. So if you are on goodness, goodness is not suddenly going to start calling you towards evil. And if you are upon evil, evil is not suddenly going to start calling you towards goodness. So it follows suit, in other words. Ibn Zayd, وَلَا تَصِيرُنَّ مِنْ طَبَقِ الدُّنْيا إِلَى طَبِقِ الْآخِرَةِ. So Imam Ibn Zayd, he said, and you will go from the state of this world to the state of the year after. That's his interpretation. وقال ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما الشدائد والأهوال الموت ثم البعث ثم العرض والعرب تقول لمن وقع في أمر شديد وقع في بنات طبق وإحدى بنات طبق ومنه قيل للداهية الشديدة أم طبق وإحدى بنات طبق وأصلح من الحيات إذ قالوا للحية أم طبق لتحويها والطبق في اللغة الحال كما وصفنا قال الأقرع ابن حابس التميمي. Okay. So Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he said that طبقا عن طبق. He says that it is the uh, difficulties and terrors. So death, then resurrection. ثم العرض. The عرض, like you will be presented in front of Allah to answer now for your deeds. والعرب, and as for the Arabs, they say for the one who falls في وقع في أمر شديد, when you are afflicted by some major thing, then they say he has fallen in بنات الطبق. So وإحدى بنات الطبق, he says, and likewise it said for داهية شديدة أم الطبق. Okay, the asal, the origin of the word is from hayat, which is snakes. Because it is said for with regards to the snake أم طبق لتحويها. Okay, but anyway, moving on to the linguistics, it says that in the Arabic language, the word tabaq, it means a state, like how we have described. Then he says, Aqra ibn Habis, he said, إني امرؤ قد حلبت الدهر أشطره وساقني طبق منه إلى طبقي. Okay, he says وهذا أدل دليل على حدوث العالم وإثبات الصانع. قالت الحكماء من كان اليوم على حالة وغدا على حالة أخرى فليعلم أن تدبيره إلى سواه. وقيل لأبي بكر الوراق ما الدليل على أن لهذا العالم صانعا؟ فقال تحويل الحالات وعجز القوة وضعف الأركان وقهر المنية ونسخ الأعزيمة. Okay, so Imam Al-Qurtubi says, and this is one of the strongest proofs you can get for the fact that the universe is created, and establishing the fact that there is a creator for all of them. It says the wise people have said that man kana اليوم على حالة, the one who today is in one state, وغدا على حالة أخرى, and tomorrow you are in a different state, then know أن تدبيره إلى سواه, then know that the one who is in control is someone other than you. And this is the way that it is in life. If you are, for example, if you have something that is totally within your control, then you choose when to change state to state. If you put it in our minimalistic understanding, if you are a person in the car and you are driving, the car will turn right when you turn right and left when you turn left. It will indicate when you click it and so on and so forth when you press it at least. So that's how it goes, because you are in control in that sense. The car is not automatically going to indicate and turn on its own. It's not an automatic car that you're driving. You're driving a normal standard car. So it's not going to do it on its own. Thus, it shows that you are the one who is in control. But in life, you don't have such things. Today you are on top of the world. Tomorrow you are down in the dregs of humanity, because you are not in control. Someone else is in control, and that is Allah. He says it was said to Imam Abu Bakr al-Warraq, what is the proof that this world, this universe has a creator? So he said the proof for it is the fact that states change, and the fact that you don't have the power over it. You are weak. Whatever happens to you. Your hopes gets crushed. Your your fortitude is removed. Things change, in other words, in life. So you may be, today you are strong, tomorrow you are weak. Why are you weak? If you were in control, you'd never make yourself weak. But you don't have a choice in the matter because you are not in control. So the fact that things, today it was hot, tomorrow it's cool, you don't have a choice. You don't have a say in the matter. You have no power over it. Someone else is in control. That is Allah. Now, only when you are brain dead atheist can you believe, no, all of this is happening all on its own. You would not believe that in your personal daily life that the shower turns itself on automatically. It drags you out of bed, throws you in there, washes you off, and dries you and dresses you. If you speak things like this, they laugh at you. Yet at the same time, they want to say that everything that you see just happen to turn out that way. It's the height of stupidity to make such statements. Nonetheless, moving on, he says, ويقال أتانا طبق من الناس وطبق من الجراد، أي جماعة. وقول ابن عباس في مدح النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تنقل من صالب إلى رحم إذا مضى عالم بدا طبق. He says another meaning is another example is أتانا طبق من الناس. A طبق of people came to us, and a طبق of locusts came, meaning a group, a swarm of locusts, a group of people. So the طبق also means a group. He says then he quotes this poem of Hadrat Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma with regards to praising Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Moving on, he says أي قرن من الناس يكون طباق الأرض أي ملؤها. So he says قرن من الناس, like an era of mankind, they are طباق الأرض, meaning the people, the full of the earth. In other words, if we were to speak it today, we would say the people alive on the surface of the earth. There were those who came before, there are those who are going to come in the future, but the people who are here right now, طباق الأرض. That's how the term would be used. أوكي. والطبق أيضا عظم رقيق يفصل بين الفقارين، ويقال مضى طبق من الليل وطبق من النهار، أي معظم منه وطبق واحد الأطباق فهو مشترك. Okay, so anyway, last point is here. He says that طبق is also a thin bone, and طبق is also like a portion of the night, or the bulk of it. So طبق من الليل, the bulk of the night. طبق من النهار, the bulk of the day. So, and طبق, the singular form is or the طبق is singular, plural is أطباق. So it is a مشترك, a shared word. Okay, then he says وقرئ لتركبن بكسر الباء على خطاب النفس ولا يركبن بالياء على لا يركبن الإنسان. Okay, he says it's also recited as لتركبن with a kasra on the ya, addressing man, the soul. But nonetheless, like I always point out, we do not, at least I do not know what are the authentic qira'at versus the shadh qira'at. So I do not know if this is an authentic established qira'ah or if this one of the shadh qira'at. So therefore, do not think that you can just read here and you say la tarkabinna. Okay, so you can read the ayah also like that. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to confirm with a, not just confirm, study qira'ah, and then you will know what is acceptable and not acceptable, and then you'll know whether you can recite it as la tarkabinna, whether it is established as being one of the 10 qira'at, or is it from one of the shadh qira'at, which is not permissible to recite the Quran in. Okay, then last paragraph now for this ayah. عن طبق في محل نصب على أنه صفة لطبقا أي طبقا مجاوزا لطبقين، أو حال من الضمير في لتركبن أي لتركبن طبقا مجاوزين لطبقين، أي مجاوزا أو مجاوزة على حسب القراءة. Okay, so طبقا عن طبق. So طبق, it is عن طبق part is what we are dealing with now. He says it is in a في محل نصب. It's supposed to be technically نصب. Now you know نصب normally has a فتحة, but it's in في محل نصب because it is a صفة of طبقا عن طبق. So, but anyway, a state which covers and goes over another state, in other words, and that's basically what is being said over and over here, على حسب according to the قراءة. Okay, moving on, it says قوله تعالى فما لهم لا يؤمنون. So what is wrong with them that they do not believe? يعني أي شيء يمنعهم من الإيمان بعدما وضحت لهم الآيات وقامت الدلالات، وهذا استفهام إنكار وقيل تعجيب، أي اعجبوا منهم في ترك الإيمان مع هذه الآيات. The next ayah over here is فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. What is wrong with them that they do not believe? Meaning, what prevents them from bringing iman after what has been made clear for them of the ayat and the proofs have been established? And this is a statement of rejection. A question of rejection. What's wrong what's wrong with them that they don't believe? It's asked as a question, but it is like we would say a rhetorical question. You're not asking really a question, expecting and wanting an answer. You are rejecting the person by making a statement like this. Another opinion says it's not a istifham of inkar, but rather it is of ta'jib, meaning of amazement. That, it's amazing that these people can abandon having iman despite all of the signs that are there in front of them. قوله تعالى وإذا قرئ عليهم القرآن لا يسجدون. And when the Quran is recited upon them, they do not make sajda. Now this is a sajda ayah, so after class you should be making the sajda for this ayah. أي لا يصلون, they do not. يسجدون is explained as they do not perform صلاة. وفي الصحيح أن أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه قرأ إذا السماء انشقت فسجد فيها، فلما انصرف أخبرهم أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم سجد فيها. وقد قال مالك إنها ليست من عزائم السجود، لأن المعنى لا يذعنون ولا يطيعون في العمل بواجباتها. قال ابن العربي: والصحيح أنها منه، وهي رواية المدنيين عنه، وقد اعتضد فيها القرآن والسنة. Okay, so the next ayah, the sajda ayah, okay, question over here. Is it necessary to make a sajda when listening to a recording of a sajda ayah? Okay, there's the general fatwa that is given, and then there's the reply that I generally give. So when you go to the general ulama, you will see their fatwa is that if you listen to a recording, then there's no need to make a sajda. Why? Because the recording is not alive, therefore you are not listening to a living being reciting it. It's a recording that you are listening to. So therefore they say, because it does not form part of qira'ah, thus listening to it does not establish the ruling. So وَإِذَا قُرِئَ قِرَاءً. So it is قُرِئَ عَلَيْهِمْ. So, they take it from that angle. That's why the general fatwa you will find from the ulama is that if you listen to it on a tape recorder, then there's no need for sajda. But I always advise people that the making of the sajda is the smallest thing. It costs you nothing to make a sajda. When you look in the lives of the Imam, if a little child would tell an Imam like Imam Malik rahimahullah to perform salah, Imam Malik would get up and make the salah. And there was an incident in this regard. I do not remember a source at all. It was many years ago. But nonetheless, it's mentioned that, and Allah knows about the authenticity. But anyway, it mentioned that Imam Malik rahimahullah, one day, a child told him, perform salah. And Imam Malik got up and he made the salah. And the students, we're talking about Malik now. And the students asked Imam Malik that, why are you listening to this child, this little toddler over here, basically telling you to go and make salah, and you go and you do it when you did make your salah already, like a sunnah, for example, when you come into the masjid. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, according to this story, he said that I do not want it to be said that when he was called to salah, he did not want to make salah, as the other ayah mentioned in the Quran. So he said, you don't want to be of that kind. So, at the end of the day, if you are listening to a recording, does it really kill you to make one sajda? You're going to get rewarded for that sajda on top of it too. So how is it difficult to make a sajda, whether you are required to do so or not? As, fuqaha, you put down laws and things. I should point out one principle, and which is important over here, which is that people tend to get the wrong end of the stick. When the fuqaha determine things of the sort, is it a sajda ayah, etc., you have to make sajda listening to a recording or not, they were not saying don't make a sajda. They were determining whether it is fard to do so or not. But nobody would deny that if you made a sajda, it would be better. So therefore, as far as is possible, always make a sajda if you listen to it on a recording or whatever. As long as you are hearing the ayah, you understand the meaning that Allah is telling you, they don't make sajda, then you join the ranks of those people who don't want to make sajda. Allah protect us from that. Nonetheless, like I say, in conclusion, the general ruling given is that it is not fard to make a sajda when listening to a recording, but I always advise people, always make the sajda even when you are hearing it on a recording. And Allah knows best. Okay, moving on, he says in the Sahih, meaning the hadith, that Hadrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he recited إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ, he read the surah and he made a sajda therein. So after he completed the salah, he informed the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, or the Tabi'een, whoever was behind him, because this was after the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he informed those who were behind him that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam made a sajda in that surah. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said that this sajda ayah that we just recited now in Surah Al-Inshiqaq, it is not from the Azaim al-Sujud. Now, there are how many sujud, sajda tilawas are there in the Quran? There's difference amongst the imma, the amount, and which sajdas are necessary as well. Or at least I should say, one say, for example, you'll notice at one para on the last page, and then it mentioned this is a sajda according to Imam Shafi'i, for example, things of the sort. So they are, uh, according to Imam Malik, yes, this is a sajda, but it's not from the azima, meaning the farad sujood. It's one, if you want to make it, you can make it, but it's not farad. That's basically what he takes it as. So he says, because the meaning is that la yud'inun wa la yuti'un, they don't listen, they don't obey in doing the uh, in doing the things that they are commanded with. But Imam Ibn al-Arabi al-Maliki, he said the correct viewpoint is that this ayah that we just recited from Surah Al-Inshiqaq, it is from the Azaim, meaning from those ayat that when you hear it, you have to make a sajda. And he says this is the generation of the people of Medina from Imam Malik. And he says, furthermore, the Quran and Sunnah also further proves that this is from the Azaim, the necessary sujood, in simple terms. Okay, I think we'll stop on this point here. The next paragraph is quite long, so we won't finish it before time runs out for class. So with that being said, we'll end on this point for tonight, inshallah ta'ala. Until next time, we end and we say, وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.